Now, a lot of people have asked me recently, will President Trump finish the job?
Well, again, what does finish the job mean? Because if finish the job means making sure that Strait of Hormuz is open, that we get the highly enriched uranium, and that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, that is finishing the job.
Okay.
That's finishing the job. And to be clear, that by whether it's the military intervention, the blockade, or the economic fury, this is the first time the Iranians have ever been willing, 47 years, have been willing to discuss not having a nuclear weapon. It was, a verboten subject, and now it's on the table for the first time, thanks to President Trump.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent telling Maria on Sunday that Iran is willing to discuss a deal for the first time that would prevent it from obtaining nuclear weapons. CENTCOM confirming the U.S. military struck additional Iranian targets overnight following the downing of an American drone. President Trump reportedly is seeking tougher terms in a proposed peace framework. The latest demands include Iran agreeing to never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. Nuclear dust will be unearthed by the U.S., then destroyed. The Strait of Hormuz will open immediately, no tolls. And then Iran must remove and/or detonate all sea mines. And then the U.S. naval blockade would be lifted. Well, joining me now is Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. He is a member of the House Armed Services Committee and chairs the Military Personnel Subcommittee. Congressman, your reaction and your kind of take right now on where we are with these negotiations with the Iranians, and also the other component of this we have to mention is the Israelis. There's new attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon, and that's another piece of this negotiating puzzle that has been a little bit upended overnight.
Cheryl, thanks for having me. And it seems as if the Iranian position is softening somewhat. It's difficult to tell for sure simply because we don't know really who's in charge. The IRGC seems to be pulling the strings, and they're unfortunately the ones that are the most hardcore. They are the true believers of the theocracy they have in Tehran. But the president's right. We have to, and by the way, something that the mainstream media fails to mention, Cheryl, is that Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris all said the same thing, that they would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Well, President Trump not only said that, but he's taking action. And it's in the Iranians' best interest to give up the enriched uranium they have now and open the straits, because then when the sanctions are lifted, they don't have to sell their oil, their energy discounted to China. They'll actually make more money in the long run.
Do you think that the IRGC is going to hear that? Because, these are the same people that are, that chant death to America.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? You have your pragmatists in Tehran. You've got 80% of the population that hate the regime altogether. So it's a house of cards for sure, but the IRGC are the ones that have the weapons right now. And my prediction would be this, Cheryl, they're either going to give up that enriched uranium, and your viewers need to understand, too, that there's never been a nation state in the world that enriched uranium up to 60% that then didn't produce a nuclear weapon. That's never happened before. You only needed to enrich 3 to 5% for peaceful use. So we're either going to have them hand that over and open the straits, or I think the regime ultimately will fall.
Well, I want to talk to you about some domestic issues here, because President Trump's $1.5 trillion defense budget request set for markup by the Senate Armed Services Committee for June 4th. That's this Thursday, Congressman. You chair the Military Personnel Subcommittee, and you're hoping to use your portion of the National Defense Authorization Act to improve service member quality of life and then boost recruitment in the military. That's something that Secretary of War Headquartered has really been championing since he took that role last year. And we have seen an increase in recruitment. But tell us more about your next phase of this, your next plan.
As you said, Cheryl, Thursday we're going to be marking up the National Defense Authorization Act. And one of the things that we really need to focus on, our greatest resource within the military is our personnel. Without that, we have nothing. And we had, under Joe Biden, unfortunately, we had year over year where other than the Marines, every branch of the service had missed the recruiting goal. Some year over year were missing, which means that ultimately becomes a crisis. So we raised pay 7%. Secretary Heggs has done a great job focusing on, for instance, in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force myself. They're having a pilot shortage, and we need better retention. So how do you do that? You obviously improve pay, but improve quality of life and let the pilots fly more. So we want to give our personnel the support that they deserve, but also the pay, and then have them have it. You view their job as an occupation rather than an occupation.
All right. So let me ask you about some more business at hand for you. House and Senate GOP leaders return to Capitol Hill this week. They're going to work on the Republicans' party line immigration enforcement bill after missing President Trump's June 1st deadline. Now, the legislation is stalled over the president's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, which was just temporarily blocked by a federal judge. Senate Republicans are expecting the administration to propose changes to the program. Another reported option would be remove all Justice Department funding from the bill, Congressman. Senate Republicans are prepared to begin this vote-a-rama as early as Wednesday. What do you want to see happen here? Because obviously the idea of pulling Justice Department funding is not going to go over well with, the Justice Department. Your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Republicans on Capitol Hill were like a family. A dysfunctional family, unfortunately, but nevertheless, a family. You can only lose 3 votes in the Senate. You only lose 2 votes in the House. So when any kind of reconciliation bill, when it gets wider, you face possibly more opposition. So you have to skinny it down. And I'd like to see something on the president's desk within a week or two. I think he'd like to see that as well. And your guess is as good as mine as how it'll all play out.
All right. Well, we're going to be watching it. Obviously, Senate Democrats are now launching a campaign to eliminate this anti-weaponization fund. There's a Dear Colleague letter written. It's out this morning by Senate Minority Leader Schumer. And it says that Democrats are going to use a range of tools, including floor action, oversight, to block it. Here's how former Vice President Mike Pence feels about this fund. Watch.
I think that the weaponization fund is a bad idea from the start, and I would encourage the administration just to drop it. But let's get rid of this fund. I mean, it's deeply offensive to me that you could have a fund that could even possibly compensate people who assaulted police officers or vandalized the Capitol on January 6th. And I think that's broadly held by most Republicans and most Americans.
Congressman, your reaction to his comments?
Well, most of the folks, and listen, I remember when Director Wray was heading the FBI, and I asked him in an oversight committee about January 6th, and he said most of the people that were arrested that day were just walking around the Capitol, and they weren't hurting police officers, and they weren't breaking things. There were some that were doing that, and there should be consequences, but the vast majority didn't. So I think the former Vice President Pence is a bit mistaken on his take in that regard.
Interesting. I do want to ask you about what's happening in Texas. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says that Democrats have now a chance to lock down a Senate seat in Texas after State Attorney General Ken Paxton's recent victory. Maria spoke with Paxton on Sunday about gaining GOP Senate support. Watch this.
How are you going to get the support that you need from Senate leadership in the Republican Party so that they can help you, in fact, defeat the Democrat in November?
Look, I'm very optimistic about getting their support. I've already been in contact with Senator Thune, Senator Barrasso, Senator Cotton, Senator Scott from South Carolina. So I think they've all pledged their support along with other U.S. Republican senators. And I'm going to meet with several of them this week. And I think they understand how important Texas is, not just because of the majority, but also because we are Texas. We haven't lost a statewide race since 1994, and this isn't the time to do it. We need to unite, and we need to fight together.
Congressman, what do you make of this rhetoric coming from the Democrats that they can flip this seat?
2 words: wishful thinking. I've known Ken Paxton for 20 years. I've also served not only with Ken in the Texas legislature, but also James Talarico. And he is a hard, far lefty. He's completely out of touch with Texas. Some of these polls are taken before any real money has been spent exposing who James Talarico is to Texas. Once we do that over the next several months, I think you'll see Ken win. It'll be another GOP sweep. You know why, Cheryl, at the end of the day? Because people vote with their feet. And Texas, people are coming to Texas because we have limited taxes, low taxes, limited government, reasonable regulation. We're growing. It's the Texas miracle. It's going to continue. And it's under GOP leadership, not Democratic leadership.
Okay. It's going to be one of the big races to watch come November. Congressman Pat Fallon, thank you for being here. Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Cheryl. God bless.
All right. Thank you for your service, sir.